welcome to the first Minisode of another gaming podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dustin Christ, and joining me is my co-host, Steven, the Laggy Gamer.
Hello, what's going on? I'm here. Let's do it.
All right. And this is going to be sort of a new thing that we're going to be doing to try to get a little bit more content on the page, because sometimes these big episodes, it takes a while to schedule things, and I figure Steven and I can have a bunch of little conversations about things and record those and get more stuff on the channel here. And kind of the rules of this is we're going to pick one topic, which we'll talk about today's topic in just a second, and we're going to try to not deviate from the topic for about a half hour. So just a short little thing, usually about one topic, and we'll see, how many of these we can crank out. But today's topic is going to be Nino Kuni.
Yes.
Yes, I just not 20 minutes ago finished the game, and Steven's had it finished for a couple of days. So, Steven, without further ado, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts?
Well, first right off the bat here, I want to say I can't believe I actually finished an RPG before Dustin Christ. That's like an achievement on its own for me. I wasn't trying to or anything, like a race or nothing, but I was just so wrapped into this game. And like Dustin said, he just finished it not only just a few minutes ago. And as soon as he finished, I was like, man, you ready to talk about it? So we're on here talking about it. So it's fresh in his mind. And like he said, I beat it a couple days ago. And for me, it's initial thoughts going into the game. I was super excited. I know a lot of people who are a fan of RPGs were really excited for this game's release because we haven't had many console JRPGs coming over here recently. And I know I'm getting my feet wet into these JRPGs, but I'd like to think I got a good grasp on things now after beating the ones I beaten last year. And I really got excited for this one, and in my opinion, it did not disappoint. It's when I'm trying to place it on a list here from comparing or making it where I want to put it on a list of greatest RPGs, it's easy for me to say it's right up there at the top, but I really haven't had a chance to sit down yet and put it all together of what would be my favorite RPG. But yeah, initial just putting that disc in, and when you first see the world you're in and the artwork and the detail all around you, you can't help but get wrapped into this environment. And just initially, I love the game, and I love the story. I love everything with it. But I'll get more into detail of little things I liked here and there about it. What were your initial thoughts on the game when you got it, Dustin? Because I know you got that beautiful collector's edition.
I did get the Wizard edition, and I'm very happy that I got it, because that was a huge fuck up with Namco. But anyway, how do I want to word this? It's going to be a little controversial.
Yes, it would be for Dustin's side.
Yeah, I think that this is it is an amazing RPG. Don't get me wrong, okay? But something about it never grabbed hold of me. I don't know what it is. I think the art style is flat out gorgeous. Level 5 really outdid themselves. The storyline is really, really thoughtful. I was surprised at sort of the little moments between the characters and some of the little animations that the characters do. It really surprised me how much thought was really put into this.
See, that's where, to stop here for a second, that's why I thought you might have maybe fallen off a little. I was like, maybe this story, because it is a very thoughtful story, but it's also a really simple story. Yeah. I was like, I wonder if this story is too simple for Dustin. Well, maybe that's why he can't really get into it.
No, it's not. It's not a simple story. It's a very subtle story.
So yeah, subtle's a better word. There you go.
Yeah,
subtle story.
Because on the one hand, yes, it is kind of a very simple story, but when you step back and you kind of look at it from a broad perspective, you realize that it's not a story about this kid saving this world, this magical world. It's about this this kid getting over the death of his mother and learning to move on in life. And
I hope we're allowed to say that because it's right at the beginning of the game. I hope people aren't gonna.
It's not. If it's a spoiler to anybody that happens at the beginning of the game, then they just don't know anything about the game. Yeah. But I don't know. The music is fantastic. The final boss theme, I really love that. How it was very quiet and it was kind of off-putting in some ways because you're fighting this huge battle and it's like just this sort of quiet choir piece going on. And then the main theme of the game didn't really click with me until I heard the end credits version where it had the vocals with it, and I was like, now it all makes sense. But yeah, no, this is a fantastic crafted game. The battle system, this is where I had the big problem with it because I'm not a fan of Pokemon style games. Like I barely collected any familiars. I collected 3 for each character, and then I just used those 3 through the entire game. I didn't
Okay.
I mean, because when I like RPGs that when you have a set party, and you can explore those characters and use those characters. What I don't like is when you have, you can collect any monster that's on the screen, and it's like, well, it's just at that point there's too many to select from, and I don't care.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing with Chrono Cross. You have so many characters to choose from. It's just like you don't really get attached to them, I guess. Like I got attached to Swain, Esther, and Oliver, and I really like those characters. But then like my familiars, I was just like, man, whatever. I'll just use this might the entire time. Who cares?
Yeah.
So
See, that's the other thing I was going to say. Maybe since you were playing with familiars, and we'll get more into the combat system and stuff, you guys, in a few minutes here. But maybe since you're playing with the familiars as your combat characters and stuff, it's kind of a disconnect with the main characters.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were so able to, then yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like I really like the game. I suggest everybody to go out and get it. But I'm just not flipping over, doing backflips like everybody else is on YouTube. I mean, right now it's my game of the year. Will it be my game of the year at the end of the year? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of the biggest releases of this year, and it's a fantastic release. But just something about it just didn't click with me completely. Like, say, Xenoblade. I mean, I hyped myself up hugely for Xenoblade, and it delivered. And I hyped myself up hugely for Ni no Kuni, and then I kind of got that buyer's remorse a little bit, I guess. I'm making it sound like I don't like the game. I really love the game, but it's just something about it didn't completely connect, I guess.
I was going to say, I was at first, before Dustin kind of came up with this idea of this mini cast, it was, he was playing through that game, and we were texting back and forth, like, how's it going for you? And it wasn't really clicking with him at first, and I thought, man, Fire Emblem Awakening is going to come out, and he's going to put this game down, and he's not going to finish it.
Well,
but I'm glad, with the podcast idea, I don't know, it's like, I got to finish it so we can do this discussion on it, but...
Well, no, I got to finish it, because then everyone's going to be like, well,
where's your video?
Where's your video? But I'm sitting there looking at Fire Emblem right now, and it's burning a hole. I was like, I just wanted to throw it in so bad and get it started, but I knew I wouldn't be able to stop. So yeah.
But just to fill you guys in on Ni no Kuni, it's basically as far as the story, like we were talking about, it's little boy Oliver. You start off in this. What was it, 1940s or 50s themed town? You'd say.
Yeah, it's very
US.
It's very 40s-esque with like sort of that retro vibe, yeah.
And yeah, you're right. We're introduced into this Motorville is the name of the hometown, and it's got this soft, quaint music playing in the background when you're just walking around through it, and everything's going pretty good for Oliver. He's got his friend, and just kind of a bad situation for him happens when him and his friend go out to kind of test out his new little go-kart, gas-powered go-kart thing he built, Racer, and tragedy just comes out of nowhere with his mom coming to save him after they drove the vehicle into a river, and she saves him out the water, and then she winds up passing away after she saves him. You think everything's fine, and just the story picks up from there where Oliver's just heartbroken, and he's upstairs in his room crying, and his tears fall on his stuffed animal, or I say stuffed fairy, Drippy, brings him to life. And Drippy pretty much explains to him the adventure from there. Want to pick up on that, Dustin?
Do you want me to go into like the entire story, or do we want to just stop it there?
Or tell him what Drippy wants him. Tell him what Drippy says.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Drippy says basically there's a chance to go to this other world that Mr. Drippy is from, and through various events, he has the ability to maybe possibly save his mother. And of course, every hero needs a MacGuffin to go after, so that's sort of it. But it becomes a lot more involved, which is if it was just him going over there to save his mother, it might get kind of snoozy after a while. But it kind of evolves into this huge, because it's an RPG, we have to save the world thing. But yeah, I don't know where else to go.
Well, it pretty much goes from him wanting to save his mom when he goes to this other world. He's trying to pretty much save this world while he's over there too, with stuff that's going on in there. And of course, villains are introduced. One being Shadar, which is who you're trying to get for a good portion of the game. And I think
kind of the Darth Vader of the
yes,
game.
it was just such a good villain, and the voice acting portrayed by all these characters I thought was just top notch with every character that was introduced. And one of the very important concepts in the story, though, is, as Eston was saying, there's a chance he could save his mom by traveling to this other world, is because everyone has a soul partner or connection with this person in another world, where they could be of your likeness, or one could be an animal and another a person in the other world, but they share souls and their souls are linked. So he's hoping by maybe finding his mother's match that that's his way of saving his mom, if he can save the soul of the person in the other world that can bring his mom back. So you're back and forth sometimes trying to travel between your world and this fairy world, I guess you could say. I'm not sure, and just trying to sometimes match these souls together to do missions and stuff. But it's a very interesting a concept, having these connected souls, which plays a major part in the game. So that's something to keep your thoughts on.
Yeah.
When thinking of this, it's a big thing in it.
I guess I'm just trying to talk about it without like completely
spoiling
it. Yeah, which is hard. But I do like how it starts off. The story starts off very kind of simple, and then it gets really in depth with things like an ancient civilization. The usual RPG tropes of an ancient civilization and this huge tragedy that has befallen the world, and how Oliver and all these characters that are in Motorville, but they're soulmates that are in the fairy world. How they all sort of are involved in this, essentially this kind of secret war in a way. It really, I mean, the storyline is definitely the game's strong selling suit. The graphics definitely, music definitely, gameplay. I might give it a knock there, but yeah.
But yeah, with the do you have any characters that stuck out to you since we're in the story of who you really liked or enjoyed as far as the characters?
I really enjoyed Esther, and I don't know why. There's this thing I have about females in video games, but there's just something about how, Ghibli, Studio Ghibli, drew her face, and how whenever she's talking to Oliver, there's just this look in her face. I don't know. I liked Swain, but I figured Swain out before I got to Swain's story before the game really did. I was like, yeah, we get it. Let's, one of those things.
I felt like Oliver for me was just his simple-hearted self. Just it really clicked with me, and I really enjoyed him as a character. And for me, I love a good villain, and like this villain Shadar doesn't rank up there with Caius with me or anything, but I thought like just the voice portrayal and stuff of him, that he did a good job at his role from what they meant him out to be.
I always like villains that have tragedy to them.
Yeah,
and that's what really sells both villains in this, both Shadar and the titular White Witch. They're both very tragic characters.
I was gonna say, yeah, you wouldn't think everything. I'm getting this lighthearted vibe from everything, but there's a lot of tragedy in this game from the stuff how everything comes to and everything. It's all from tragedy is why everyone is like they are. So it's pretty crazy to think about it, because you have this vibrant, beautiful world around you. It's so much darkness really going on in the story. But
it's definitely a much more mature story than the graphical style would lead you to believe.
It is very much so. So how about we get into what you're kind of knocking on? You said the gameplay. So let's go ahead and what's your little gripes with that?
I guess
or you can let people know how the game kind of plays out.
Well, I mean, for the most part, this game really reminds me a lot of Dragon Quest VIII. And so much, in fact, that you could basically swap out all the Ni no Kuni characters, throw in Dragon Quest characters, and you'd have a very awesome Dragon Quest X. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I guess the big problem I have is just the battle system. I just felt like everything else in the game was done so well. I feel like the battle system is just kind of you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like the Pokemon. I don't like going around and collecting familiars, because it gets very frustrating trying to collect those familiars. And you and I talked about there's one mission where you had to collect these 3 familiars and show them to this guy, which once I saw that there were going to be more of those quests, I just said, fuck that. I'm not doing it. You had to collect these 3 familiars and then show it to him to complete the quest. It took me, I bet you the amount of time I spent trying to collect these stupid familiars, I bet you it added 3 hours onto my game.
It will. It's trying to farm like some of these side quests, which is how the game's kind of built up. You have your main quest or you always have a waypoint showing you where to go in the game. But then you have a lot of errand quests you can go on, and Dustin's talking about one of the errand quests where there's always this guy named Derwin, haha, inside joke.
Yeah.
Derwin inside of some of the main towns, and he wants you to go hunt down some familiars and bring them back to him. And these can prove to be very tedious when trying to farm these, because like Dustin said before earlier, he didn't have many familiars, and I think a major problem with that was in this game, and to capture a familiar, they have to get hearts above their heads, and they're like, oh, I can capture this familiar now. Well, that just wasn't happening.
Yeah, you basically just wail on them until they're like, oh no, wait, I like you now.
Yeah.
Please take me with you.
And it's kind of like it's a percentage-based thing, because I was having trouble with the same quest dungeon or same rewind. I was having problems with the same errand you were on, and we were talking about it, and I had actually captured one of those familiars. And here's an inside tip for everyone who's listening. Don't level up your familiar that's part of the quest, because if you evolve it, it's going to cancel out the quest. It has to be a specific familiar he wants in the stage it's in. And I evolved it, so I had to hunt for another one. And luckily, I was able to eventually find one, but it'll tack on 2 hours, because these things are on a percentage rate. I looked it up, and sometimes they have a 5% chance of being able to be captured, so that can get pretty annoying.
It just seemed like there was no... I guess I didn't know about the percentage rate. I didn't look into it that much. It just seemed like there was no rhyme or reason to it, because it felt like I was. But now that you say the percentage rate, it makes total sense, because I was just sitting there and I was like, every one of these fucking monsters are. I don't know what the term is in Ni no Kuni. Unleashing. I'm using
Serenading.
Yeah, there you go. Except for the ones that I want. What is going on? So, I mean, this is a quest I should have completed like way back early in the game. And I didn't complete it until I was like level 40, and I was like basically one hit killing these things.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And later on in the game, from when you complete errand quests, you gather up points, and that's kind of a thing with. I know we're going off the battle system now, but since we're into it,
yeah, we're talking about gameplay, really.
Yeah, and since you have these errand quests, and you'll earn points called just stamps to go on merit cards. And once you fill out 10 stamps on a merit card, you'll get a point to spend inside of your Swift Solutions shop, and that could be helping to unlock certain abilities for your character. And later on in the game, you will unlock something that'll help make these things easier to catch. But I mean, you're going to have to complete almost every errand quest just to get to that point to unlock it.
And you said you completed every one of them.
I completed all the errand quests that are in when you first play through the game.
Okay.
More unlock after you beat the game, but I completed all the ones before. Yeah.
So were you able to get all the cards?
That did not fill out all the card sections. No.
Okay.
It's still left, I think, 3 or 4 empty, which I'm guessing you'll be able to get once I complete all the other ones in the end.
Yeah. So
the monster ones actually did get a little bit easier. I think the most I had to farm a monster near the end was maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just that one we were on earlier, man. That was just stupid Tin Man. He was.
I know that was the hardest one to get. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really and I'm gonna make a little joke here. I kind of felt like Nick playing an RPG, because I found myself like just attacking the entire time. Like I'd use skills every now and then, but I felt like Nick. How Nick talks about how he always plays RPGs. He just attacks. He doesn't really use spells. Yeah. It wasn't until I got Even Star and Mornstar, those 2 spells, and then I just started using those.
Yeah, near end game.
Yeah, near end game.
I was going to say the exact same thing. How the battle system's set up, everyone is. I wouldn't say it's action RPG, because just because you're moving your character around, I don't think that's action. You're still turn based, kind of on a cooldown thing.
Yeah, so it kind of gave me a Tales vibe in some respects. Maybe not as action packed as Tales, but
yeah, not as action as Tales, because you're not hitting XXX to attack.
Oh no, I was.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, it took me a while to realize that once you hit the attack button,
hit this button,
it was an auto attack for a brief
time.
Yeah.
But how it is your party members, or your familiar party members that have attack, they'll have defend or evade, and then they'll have skills. And Oliver and his companions, the rest of your main party, Esther and Swain, they actually have a spells section. I think Swain has his trick shot section, because he carries a revolver and he can use those skills. I think, what was Esther's? Because I didn't, I never actually used her.
It was
Songs, yeah, she had songs that are kind of like spells to heal your party and stuff. But when you're playing with your familiars, they only have a limited set of moves. I think maximum 5 or 6 moves, and that's after evolving them. And they're gonna mainly, just like Dustin, you're just gonna be hitting attack the whole time. Very rarely did I ever have to use a spell. If I wanted to use a skill, yeah, sure I could, but I really didn't need to. There's no point to use it.
Well, your AI companions just spam themselves out of MP. And I went into
True.
the tactics and I tried to find a way to not have them do that, but it's like it feels like it's a all or nothing thing. It's either you have them spam the hell out of their MP and have to constantly refresh their MP, or they just do nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think a lot of the frustration with the battle system comes from the fact that I played on normal. And I think you played on easy from the get-go, right?
Easy mode, yes. Easy
Yeah.
mode for the rookie.
Well, the thing about is it just makes the battle system so tedious. Like, once I switched to easy, I was fine. But
So that big of a difference, huh?
It really,
Because
well,
I have nothing to compare it to yet.
yeah, it felt like that big of a difference because I was just getting so frustrated going through these dungeons. And it's like every battle was kind of like a mini boss battle in a lot of respects because it ups their their HP and lowers your attack rate and stuff like that. So it's just like, oh my god! And after every battle, I'd have to restore everyone's MP with and coffee is not a cheap thing to buy in that game.
Hey, well, at least in this dungeons, I like how at the save points they do restore your MP as well, unlike the old school ones.
Yeah.
I appreciate that for the simple things. Restoring my MP, not making me pay for it. But like you said, yeah, in easy mode, I didn't find myself having to do that too often, having to restore MP. And later on down in the game, Dustin had messaged me about, hey, I know this place where you can kind of farm these. They have rare creatures like is it Dragon Quest that has the metal slimes and stuff that are rare creatures to find? So here's another little tip if anyone wants to know down. There's the same thing in this game. There are rare creatures. I won't tell you the locations of them. You'll have to find them on your own. But if you find them, there's kind of like a section you can farm them kind of each stage of the game, kind of at the beginning, the middle, and near end game if you want to kind of level up. There are these rare creatures that if you find them, they give you tons of experience. And I got hooked on it. Once Dustin told me about the first place where I could find some, I farmed like for 3 hours that day leveling up.
Did you find the ones towards the end game that give you like 20,000?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I farmed. I think I just got 2 of those, and I was like, I'm high enough level already.
I was barely paying attention to what I was doing. I was just kind of going through the motions, and all of a sudden I won the battle, and then the level up screen came up, and it's like 20,000 XP. I was like, what?
Nice.
Yeah.
But near the mid game one, there's one that gives you 8,000 experience. That's the one that was the easiest to farm, just because of its location. You can kind of go into town and walk right back out and see if there's any out there. And that's where I spent a lot of time leveling up.
I got one first of the first place to pop out,
wow.
and then it was like, nope, we're just gonna keep throwing mites at you, and I was like, come on. So,
but I think I farmed the second set from level 45 to 55. It was so easy, and I went through a majority of the game overpowered and just demolishing everything. Even the final battle wasn't that much of a challenge, which I was going to ask you, Dustin. I think I said 75 during the final battle. What was your level at the final battle?
I think Oliver was somewhere between 60 and 65.
Now, was it challenging there at that level, you would say?
Not really, no, because Mornstar just does so much damage.
Yeah.
And really, that's the only way to effectively damage the end bosses. And then, like, the final battle where you're fighting, like, 6 at the same time? Even Star. 3 casts of Even Star, and it's like all those extra enemies are gone, and you're just left with the main boss. So, no, I didn't really find it to be that hard, because I hoarded, like, all the great items, like the ones that, like, completely restore your MP and things like that. So, I didn't find of course, I was playing on easy, because I switched down to easy, but, the normal mode was a surprising challenge, but I just eventually got frustrated with it. And I'm sure someone will be out there like, "Oh, you played on easy mode. You're not a real gamer." And yeah.
Well, I'm not afraid to admit I was afraid of normal. I was like, because I heard some initial impressions of how it was kind of tough, and I was like, well, I'm gonna start this on easy. Then there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it on normal. And then after finding those sweet like XP spots and everything, I'll probably play through again on normal down the road, because I really did like the game that much, and I'm up for the challenge. But yeah, like we said, the battle system, it's pretty much just hit and attack. And the boss fights, they had some creative characters and bosses, And I thought with being able to move around, like in a Tales game, that the boss battles would maybe be a little bit more creative, where I'd have
Yeah.
to do some more dodging, maybe some attacks and stuff. But I really didn't see any of that, even in that last battle.
Yeah, it just
I was just kind of hammering away at the enemies, not worrying about too much attack or defending or dodging or anything.
it was just kind of. I mean, if there is one dent in Nino Kuni's armor, for me, it's just the battle system. I mean,
Yeah.
it's functional and it's good, and a lot of people are going to get on their videos and say I loved it, But for me, it wasn't there for me. So.
I think for me, it was easy. I did like it, enjoyed it, but yeah, not as much as I actually enjoyed 13.2's battle system a whole lot more than this battle system.
Ooh.
But
you were gonna get burned, son.
ooh, I'll be controversial for that one.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say I saw little resemblances of 13.2 in this game.
Yeah.
With like capturing the enemies and having them fight on your team and stuff.
Yeah. Which when I did my video for Final Fantasy 13-2, I said the same thing. I hate this kind of mechanic.
Exactly.
Get rid of it.
In that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there are going to be people out there who are going to think it's fun, like collecting all these familiars. I had a good time capturing them when I could, but I didn't see any incentive to level them up because the ones I have leveled up already,
Yeah.
they were already super leveled, and I didn't want to take the time and putting in the grind work for any others. It's kind of stick with my main ones, and plus, the ones you kind of get from at the beginning, like Might. He came from Oliver, so I was like, I got to keep Mighty, man. He was with me from the beginning. I don't want to change him out.
Yeah.
So there.
I didn't even use the golden DLC ones that came with my Wizard Edition.
Oh, you never did?
I mean, I got them in my party, and then by the time I was able to get them in my party, my normal Might was so much more powerful. I was just like, what's the point of this? Why can't I have these from the get-go? Why do I have to wait until I get to the Temple of Trials to get these things?
Yeah. I think another thing, as far as gameplay wise, like I said, I really enjoyed everything with it. I think they did a good job of, I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but I mean, it's in the trailer. You unlock a dragon to fly around the map, like later on in the game. But I thought that was one of the better, like, overworld flying things I've ever played in an RPG.
Yeah,
the controls of it were really nice. I really enjoyed riding on that dragon, man. That was pretty crazy.
What I really liked about it is that when you hit the X button, it didn't automatically drop you down. It dropped a targeting reticule, and you could have him drop you wherever you wanted.
Oh yeah,
like that. It was so much better than every other airship thing that they've ever done. Like it was just
trying to hammer on X and it's saying no, you can't land here, and trying to find another spot.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that little simple thing, just with the flying mechanic of the dragon and how a feeling of wonderment I had when you first get that thing and you're riding it across this vast land. But I think another thing the game did was that, don't get me wrong, it's a big world, but man, when you're on that dragon, things seem to go by not so big. Like the world's not that big because you're flying over it pretty quickly.
I think
when
the
you're
reason
on foot, you're walking pretty slow, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think the reason why it feels so big is because when you're on foot, it feels like you're crawling on the ground.
Yeah,
it's so slow. But yeah, once you get like the travel spell, the game actually feels really small.
It does.
Yeah.
Not a knock against it or anything, because I'm a fan of a shorter RPG anyway. I wouldn't consider this one a short one. Personally, yeah, short as I'm comparing it to Xenoblade. Yeah. That's like my benchmark for anything these days.
Well, everything's short compared to Xenoblade, except for like Skyrim.
Yeah, and I'm actually I was going to mention I had the opposite feeling, like, because you said you weren't getting hooked in this game. I got wrapped into this game really easily. I don't know why. It was just something I adored with the story and the characters and everything with it. I was just enamored in the game, especially when you go into that first dungeon, the Dark Woods, and you have the foliage in your face and everything, and you're seeing all this color. But I was opposite with Xenoblade. I went into it, and I put it down after 20 hours because I was like, getting a little bored with it. Yeah. But then I went back, and of course I finished it and loved it. But
now, are you
like the opposite thing there?
Yeah. Are you a big Ghibli fan?
Ooh, yes, I am. I actually have, I'm staring at the, 12 DVD disc set, or what is it, 6 DVDs? It's got, 13, 14 movies on it. I don't know.
See, I think that's part and parcel of the thing, because Nick's a big Ghibli fan, Arrow hasn't started playing it yet, but I'm assuming he's going to be over the moon about it. It seems like everybody that's really, Paige, she's a big Ghibli fan. Like, I like the Ghibli movies, but I'm not obsessed about them like everyone else is. So
I really enjoy maybe 4 of them. The rest are okay to me.
Yeah.
Some really stand out, but yeah, that's kind of how I am on them.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was I think Mr. RPG Crazy. I think he's looking forward to this game too. But is it out over there in Europe yet or not?
I don't think it's out quite yet.
And I'm just thinking like, man, I think he's going to be disappointed in it because he kind of likes those darker RPGs.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I
man,
mean,
this is going to be lighthearted, and I don't know if he's going to like it.
it's got a darkness to it. Kind of like how old Disney movies. Like I always think back to Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
You know, people don't think about that as a dark movie, but it really kind of is. But yeah, I think he'll enjoy it.
But yeah, the game, as far as the overworld and stuff, like I said, you unlock that dragon and you just get to go around. But I really, other than the combat system being a short downfall of it, I just thought it was wonderful. Like you were mentioning the music, I thought the music was just perfect for the type of game it was.
They are going to be releasing a complete soundtrack.
I was going to order the one off Play Asia, but if you say if it's coming over here, then I'll be patient.
Yeah.
I just really want to get it in my hands, and I was telling Dustin while I was playing this game, it's one of the few games my wife could actually watch me play, and she would start humming the music like in the background, and she never does that. She doesn't really like video games, and she said the soundtrack she even wants a copy of it to listen to, so that's how good it is in our opinion.
Yeah, I really do think though. As much as it sounds like I'm knocking the game, I think this is going to be. We've already kind of discussed that this is going to be the year of the RPG, but listening to how many people want this game. I mean, it goes beyond just normal RPG players. You're getting the Ghibli people into it, and you're getting people that are looking at the screenshots saying, "Oh my god, that looks fucking gorgeous."
Oh yeah.
I really think that this is going to be like. It's not going to be like a Final Fantasy VII. But I think it's going to be one of those ones that brings people into the RPG genre and maybe stirs the pot a little bit and starts getting things going again.
You make a good point in that because I think they went into it with the kind of, I know we're kind of downplaying the combat system a little bit more, but how many millions of copies does Pokemon sell?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if they can kind of get in there a little bit, maybe grab that audience, it could bring more in into purchasing this thing, which is what we need. We need people to buy these things so we get more JRPGs over here.
Yeah.
And I think they did it pretty well with everything they put together in this game. With maybe on normal, yeah, I might have to use some skills and stuff, but I don't know. I'll have to go back and see. But I don't know if that's what really got me into the game was the combat system. It was more the story that got me into this game and just wanting to be into the world and the visually everything around me. So
we want to wrap up here with some final thoughts, or?
Yeah, I guess for some final thoughts for me on it would be with the game. I like I said, if I could give it a point score, it'd probably be a 10 for me, or a 9, at least a 9.5. Yeah. Where it would be at on the RPG scale, I don't know if it's just caught up in the moment. It would be between that and Xenoblade Chronicles for me because I haven't finished a buttload of RPGs and. Those are the 2 greatest I've played right now. And it's kind of tough to compare them because they're not the same type of RPG. So I don't know where I put it, but yeah, I just think it's a beautiful world, beautiful music with a wonderful story, really touching. And I really enjoyed the little things with this game, how they incorporated the side quests to make you want to do them, not pass them up. Some of them are easier than others. The simple concept in the game I thought was a really cool thing. Is there side quests in the game where I don't know if that's a big spoil about the kind of heart kind of quests? Should I mention it?
Yeah, you can mention that about how he goes around and heals people's broken hearts.
Yeah, there's a thing in the game with people being brokenhearted from Shadar. He kind of went through and made some people brokenhearted, and there's these side quests in the world where you have to take, say, if someone has kindness, an overflow of kindness in their heart, you can go ask them, hey, can I take this kindness? And they'll give it to you. And someone who needs it, you can just go put it in their heart. I love the little things with that in the game. There's some side quests with characters who are like staple characters throughout each major city you're going in. There's a couple who's always fighting and arguing who you're doing side quests for. There's a guy who's always losing his journal. Little characters like that and stuff I really enjoyed throughout the game, too, that I think made it special. And the artwork, I don't know how involved Studio Ghibli was with this game, because there aren't many cutscenes with, like, Studio Ghibli, like, animation going on. There's very few of those within the game. So
I was really disappointed with that. I thought there was going to be a lot more.
Me too. I thought there was gonna be tons more of that. So I don't know how. I don't think they were like big time involved in this. I think they might have gave them some ideas on characters and stuff like that. I don't know, but the cutscenes that were there were beautiful, but there weren't a lot of them. But I mean, I just thought overall beautiful game. Other than the combat system being a little knock against it, I just really loved everything about it. And if I could give any tips, I would say go farm those animals I'm talking about, or the familiars area we're talking about. I'm not going to tell you the area, but the creatures. If you're having trouble with it, just go level up there. Side quests, I would say complete them because some of the errand quests, I'd say complete them because some of the abilities you unlock can be pretty useful. So make sure you're doing those side quests and really kind of explore the map still because there are some areas that you'll see a group of trees on a map and don't think that they're just trees. Sometimes you can walk in those trees and there's a village inside. So there could be things in this game that you don't even know exist because you're not seeing it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So just explore, enjoy the world because it's a nice, heart-filled story in my opinion, and I really loved it. So definitely check it out.
I actually think this is like the perfect game to introduce kids to RPGs.
You stole the word. I was gonna say you stole it out of my mouth. It's a good introductory RPG.
Yeah, because
good introductory one.
I think that they'll just eat up the world. And it's not one that's like overly serious. It's not one that's overly dark. And it does actually teach a lot of good, sort of quote unquote values of, trying to help everybody out and things like that. I think that this is going to go down definitely as one of the PS3's best releases. And it's just a game, if you're on the fence about it, just go buy it because if you're an RPG fan, you already have it. If you're a Ghibli fan, you already have it. But aside from me bitching about the battle system, which is just my personal preference of not liking Pokemon style games, it is one of the best, if not maybe the best release this year. Just because the world is filled with so much wonder, it really took me back to being a kid and like going out in the woods. And I really thought the storyline was going to go in a different way, and maybe Steven will talk about that once I stop recording so we don't spoil anything. But I really enjoyed this sort of, adventure. It reminded me, a lot of Grandia, the first Grandia. How is these, kids going on an adventure? And yeah, you're fighting Shadar and trying to save the world from darkness and blah, blah, blah. But it really did feel like we're going on an adventure,
Yep.
So definitely check it out. But I think with that, we've pretty much talked this one into the ground.
It did. I think for our first little mini episode, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if we finish some more games here and there that we'd be really excited about, maybe we can do some more. And it might always be me and Dustin. Maybe if Dustin and someone else, another YouTuber, finish the game and they might get together and talk on something. Maybe me and another person will. Yeah. Just little mini episodes in there to put on the channel to give you guys some more stuff to listen to while these big episodes we do together take some time to get together and stuff. So hope you all enjoyed it, and hopefully within the next couple weeks or so we'll have the next podcast up. So excited about that. Maybe a major cast member announcement on that one. So we'll see what happens. Don't know. But I think that's a wrap. So
I think it's a wrap.
You can go ahead and take us out, man, if you want.
Well, like I said, definitely go out and check out Ni no Kuni. For all you guys who did not get your Wizard editions, I honestly feel for you guys so badly. So that's it for this. So stay tuned for more stuff. Hopefully we'll get some more content on this channel and get things going here. So thanks for listening and take care.
See you.